Yeah, these Lennox.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen it anywhere.
Day and night in Lennox.
You walk to work,
No.
driver side by side.
Yeah. If I'm working in town.
Does it say you majority work in town?
No.
You see this on the,
We've been working in Sioux Falls the last couple of weeks.
You're the
That's
spice for Sioux Falls?
Yeah.
oh, Jim, never mind.
Okay.
I thought it said
What's
July.
your, like, go-to word, like?
On the minutes, or what?
I thought this said July 25th.
No work is my ideal work.
We just did a deck. I don't like decks.
Oh, that's June
They're-
Wednesday.
I don't mind.
That's not July.
He
These
likes
are
everything.
short, and we don't do that anymore at all. We're done with that.
Do what?
Shingle,
Oh.
we're done with that. We're dual.
We're too long. You do like additions or remodels and stuff?
Yeah.
What about a container house?
We're gonna get
Container
some
house?
rain here.
Are those
Not
allowed?
in the city limits.
Don't you think he'd go stir crazy? 7.5 feet wide.
Yeah. This is his idea.
Okay.
Just make sure we're doing it right.
Is it what it's done?
Everybody here.
It's taking notes.
It's your annual evaluation.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to put that in the agenda.
Teacher's here, teacher's everybody passed.
Alright. Call the meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda?
No changes.
Make a motion to approve?
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, we will go to visitors to be heard. Seeing none, we will move on to the minutes from the June 25th meeting. Everything look okay?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 25th meeting?
Second?
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. Motion carried. Let's go to Kyle.
Construction update since Monday. As of Monday, we got 133 new permits. Majority of them are usual roofing, shed, fence, decks. New construction side, we're up to 12 twin homes. These are individual units. We got 2 fourplexes, 12-plex apartment, and then 8 stone garage. Commercial, we just added another roofing permit to that. As far as permit values, as you can see in my report, really high on the residential side compared to last year at this time, and commercials a little down.
On the building permit attachment that you see there, I just want to point out two of these on the bottom. On June 22 of 26, a $960,000 home permit was pulled. And on July 16, $850,000 home permit was pulled. 960, I imagine it's got to be the most expensive permit in our industry.
Mhm. At least it's out there.
Before that.
Is Ashley Circle east back
So if you
there?
take Juniper all the way north, and then there's a cul-de-sac off of that.
Yeah.
You don't even know where you're putting it.
Yeah.
Ashley Circle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So that is
nice.
that.
Nice to see some bigger permits coming in.
Mhm.
Good, good.
Any questions on the building side?
Nope.
And as far as code enforcement, still seeing the usual parking in grass, tall grass and weeds, rubbish and junk, and then I've been starting to go through this town for low-hanging tree branches over the streets. I've only hit up the numbered streets so far, but I'll hit up the numbered avenues, I guess, so far. I'll hit up the streets here in the next few weeks. Just gotta get everything ready for winter.
Cool. Anything else? All right, we'll move on to new business. Approved parking services.
Commissioners, this is just a discussion item tonight. We'll go with any discussion and direction that's provided by the commission tonight. Mayor Ferguson requested a planning commission discussion on the review of the applicable ordinances as they relate to approved parking services, as they relate to crushed and milled asphalt. Some of you may recall this discussion from years past. I think we've had it twice already. We covered the topic twice before, I should say. In general, residential parking services are required to be paved with either asphalt or concrete, though pavers are allowed as well. There are a number of gravel driveways in town, which have essentially been allowed to continue so long as they're not improved or enlarged. They can be maintained with gravel, so adding gravel to existing is fine. Gravel is permitted for storage areas in light and heavy industrial zones, and milled asphalt may be used in light and heavy industrial zones for parking and driving services only, not including the driveway approach. So the discussion up for you tonight is the extent to which we should allow milled asphalt in residential zones. Kyle and I have discussed this quite a few times over the years, and in general, you don't really have an objection to milled asphalt being approved to use in place of existing gravel. It would provide a hardened surface, free parking, and an improvement over gravel. We're hesitant to recommend that for new construction, which probably wouldn't even be desired in the first place. You know, you're already using concrete on a lot of these new houses. The likelihood that somebody would request asphalt, milled asphalt on a new home is pretty low. I can think of a few instances like the long driveway on Boynton. I would expect a request on something like that, but on any of these other ones, I just wouldn't expect it. So we welcome your discussion and guidance on what action, if any, you'd like to take. And the mayor's here if he wants to comment as well.
In the instance of Boynton, would there still be a curb and gutter and then start the gravel, or how
So
is
there would
that?
still be a concrete approach.
Okay, yeah,
So you'd have a curb and gutter, concrete approach going over the sidewalk,
Yep.
6-inch sidewalk there, over driveways, to the property line.
Yep.
And then after that, they could do mill.
so in terms of gravel being coming over into the street, it's not likely.
No, I think, maybe that's something we need to clarify on an ordinance if we draft one, is the approach. If you're gonna do a driveway improvement, the approach has to be concrete.
Yeah.
Because we've got a sidewalk that's coming through there, typically, not always, but typically. And, we don't want that coming out into the street going into a storm sewer, for example, so.
Okay.
My only thought with this is a year or two ago, I don't remember now, but it was a P&Z meeting that I think we were talking about, gravel parking lots, and I think even in reference to the gas station right on the highway there with the semi-truck parking, and Brett even mentioned how dusty gravel is, and I thought the same thing. And then I think you referenced what was approved for surfaces for parking. So I think that there could be just a solution to this. And then I also saw with the school milling off asphalt too, and you using that at the football field, and you park there an hour on a certain day on their gravel parking lot, and your car is just full of dust. So if we can try to improve that, I agree, maybe like you keep the gravel that's already in place, but any new places, or approve of milled asphalt with that. But then also as a city too, our desire is to get rid of these gravel streets in town and improve that. So I thought P&Z would be able to come up with a good recommendation on improving this ordinance. So that's kind of my thought
I don't remember who was around, when the first couple of years of the pool, we didn't have a parking lot paved yet, we used milled asphalt there. And I was shocked at how well that held up, really, I mean, it was so good, we actually painted parking lights on it and they held up. So even with plows on it all winter long, it was well done for, I think, 3 or 4 seasons we leveled that, so.
Yeah, it holds up very well.
And it also doesn't let weeds grow through, grass.
I mean, weeds will still grow through, but it's a
Okay.
lot less common than gravel.
If it's fairly compacted, it should be
Yeah.
all right.
I think that's exactly it, as long as it's prepped well enough or like put down in the right manner and it's compacted well.
So, like, we used an emulsion on the parking lot. We sprayed
gonna say,
emulsion on
yeah.
it before we packed it down, and that helped a lot.
Yeah, you get like a standard resident, oh, I wanna take out my gravel, put asphalt millings in it, I mean, they're gonna look for the cheapest route potentially to do it. Whether they do it themselves, I mean, they're probably just gonna lay it down, they're not gonna have the equipment to compact it, and then they're coming in another driveway, driving the same spot every time.
Middle's
like-
gonna be high, yeah.
Well, it's like the middle's gonna be high, but also, I mean, that's where the weeds will come in the middle or on the outside, and it's just, that's where, yeah, it'd be, requires some level of maintenance, but it'd be less than gravel for
Yeah.
sure.
So yeah, that was kind of, I guess, my thoughts behind it too. And I emailed Kyle about this as well, and he had some good thoughts as well, or even maybe sharing what some of the other cities have done. My only concern, I guess, or one of my concerns would be if we make this, like, I don't know how accessible milled asphalt is to the everyday person. Is that hard to get? Is that way more expensive?
It's
So,
pretty easy.
that'd be my one concern, but.
It's
It's more
similar.
expensive than gravel, but
Yeah.
it's cheaper than regular asphalt.
Yeah, it's easy to get.
Anyways, appreciate your thoughts on it, guys.
Is this something that would be controlled at the permitting stage of things to catch a majority of compliance, or?
Yeah, it would have to, we'd have to have it fall under a building permit somehow. And really all we need is engineering review. I don't know that we'd have to have streets, zoning, and that'd be about it. So we could probably use the existing building permit form, but it's not something that Kyle would necessarily have to redo, because there's no building code issue, there's a zoning and engineering issue.
Sure.
You're talking if it's a brand new driveway or pad versus
Yeah,
replacing existing gravel, right?
right,
That'd be the hardest part, I guess.
yeah.
Enforcement is a critical piece if we're gonna put in new
Yeah, and
language into
that's,
the ordinance.
that's already an issue on gravel. right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if somebody wants to, I think we come across this fairly often, where somebody had gravel for years, a parking area for years, let it go to weeds,
Keep growing.
and, well, I'd
3
like to,
inches
I'd like to maintain it. Well, okay, can you prove to me that it was gravel 15 years ago? And we're usually looking back at GIS for older imagery.
Start inching.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And, again, if we can establish that, yes, it's always been gravel, yeah, that's fine, you can go ahead and maintain it. But, I personally, I prefer that we be able to give them the option that you can maintain it, but you're also able to put down milled asphalt now, and we prefer that.
Yeah.
So what would be in that permit would be like a required, like an approved source, where it's like coming from like an approved, I don't know how deep you get into the weeds, but like it's an approved, like, cause there's somewhere you can get from a bad source that's got like dirt and
Chunks,
a bunch of organic matter, like junk, and then, or it's got oil still maybe in it, and you start washing it out and it's getting to the street. So it's like, there are somewhere, I don't know if Hardscapes has it, or I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of sources, but like, if there's approved sources for them to get it, I mean, you don't wanna make it hard on them either, of course, but you don't want the wrong stuff getting in there. It's like,
yeah,
if
you
you
get
get
it
crushed.
from Knife River or something, or,
Yeah, right, it's just, but I
but I don't know how
It's
we.
probably over and above, is my
You
guess.
you can't really police that.
Well,
I mean,
right,
it's no different.
Because you'd have to have a scale ticket after the fact or something.
Right, I'm more just saying, like, if we're gonna have a permit, then what goes into that permit for the qualifications for hey, I just wanna do asphalt millings, I mean, well, does it have to be a certain thickness, does it have to be a certain, what's
Yeah.
the qualification?
And I think that'll be something we have to establish in the ordinance.
Yeah.
Because whatever we're permitting off of, the only thing we can permit off of is whatever we've established in ordinance or regulation. So if, as we develop an ordinance, it's going to have to lay out specifically what we need to see in there, to feel okay with that material, or that's 2 inches, I don't know. You could require that it's compacted, you could require, any number of things, but you can't regulate off of anything that isn't included in that ordinance. Whatever you want to make sure you have, whatever you want, it has to be in there.
I think just adding it as a option is good enough.
Enough?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we don't require you pack your gravel to anything. We don't, so I don't know why we
We
would
have a requirement for
have to jump that, raise that bar just because we're letting them use a better product,
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's an engineering standard, I don't think it's a building code standard.
One thing I do, when you kind of talk about longer driveways like Boynton and stuff like that, I think if we were going to, we would maybe want to require paving for the setback,
Yeah.
even the setback, that
Oh, sure.
25 foot, just so there's that buffer there of not getting stuff onto the sidewalk and into the streets. If you live at the end of an alley in town here, the road and your yard get full of gravel
Yep.
every winter, so having that little 25-foot buffer, for those long driveways, one, it'll look nicer from the road, but it also will help keep a lot of that stuff back far enough, I think.
But would you suggest that standard for just new
New,
properties
yeah.
and not necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, if it's already got a gravel driveway, we're not gonna say, well, you
Yeah.
gotta pave the first 25
Yeah.
foot if you're maintaining, but like if that house, just because that's the only one that's got it going on right now, but there's other lots in town that are big enough to, if you put a
Yeah.
house back,
You could probably do it based on zoning too, like, if the A1 or A2
Yeah.
agricultural zones, where it's more of an acreage setting, maybe
Yep.
it makes sense to just say, yeah, go ahead and use it after the setback.
yeah, but I think the requirement of having to have it all the way to even people that are adding garages in the back of their house, if you have the concrete to the setback or whatever, and then you could switch to milled asphalt or
Yeah.
something, because concrete just keeps getting ridiculous. It's almost
noticed.
$12 a square foot,
Plus it grows grass.
Concrete grows grass too, in the cracks. Yeah.
There's a lot.
It is. But I think,
Anything else you guys think we should include in this? It sounds like this could be a fairly simple ordinance to
Yeah.
draft, so.
I really think if we just added it as one of the options, and like I said, if we wanna maybe change the verbiage instead of requiring it all the way, if you got a 100-foot driveway,
Right.
you don't need it 100 feet, just, is it 25 foot?
25 is setback.
That's our thought.
Yeah.
Require it at least a 25 foot.
So you're saying the property line plus 25 feet back? or-
Yeah, so.
But that's the only new construction that you'd be okay with, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
When you say new construction, like a new house?
yeah.
Okay, so think of, well, if it's a gravel right now, but they wanna park their camper on it, they can. But if they wanna do asphalt millings, then they can.
So is
Yeah,
it
part of
any
the
new
campground, right?
improvement, like if I add on a garage and that
If it's
requires improving the surface?
Right. If it's within that 25 foot, it'd have to be hard, after the 25 foot.
That's with any new construction, you're saying? Cause I feel like that kind of,
99% of houses are gonna be
They're
right
just
at
gonna
that
go
20,
straight fence.
they're right at 25 foot, and they're gonna concrete
Yep.
it.
Most of our new construction is 25-foot, 1 inch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost every permit.
But you get, there's a handful of lots, and I'm sure as we grow, there'll be more, but, you know, there's a handful of lots yet where you could have a 100-foot driveway.
Yeah.
And-
It'll probably be more of an issue as we, as we expand and annex, areas that have acreages in them, and finding out a way to accommodate the needs of those acreages while we grow.
Yeah, like that house getting built across the 17, you know, their house is back 150 feet. Well, to require a concrete driveway all the way back there, that'd be a lot of money.
We've got a couple council members here too, asking a question for.
Oh.
But, it's like, what about this? And, so I brought it up in the email, but, do you wanna expand a little bit on, because you're kind of opposed to crushed concrete and why that is?
I think it's just as dusty as gravel.
Okay.
If
That's
not
what
a
it was.
little worse.
That's just my personal experience.
And also, it's not supposed to, but a lot of crushed concrete can have chunks of rebar in it as
Oh.
well.
Okay.
You know that those milled, asphalt millings usually don't have, they're not as dirty. They don't have as much chunks of metal and stuff in them. Where that crushed concrete can have, you know, chunks of rebar in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Which just really isn't.
It's really dusty,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost worse than gravel.
way worse.
Step on up to the
Yeah, there you go.
podium.
Now you can go. It's like, oh,
Laura
God.
Tracy, okay, so you said that crushed concrete is dusty, just as dusty as gravel, but if they're already maintaining their driveways with more gravel, what is the difference?
I think the approach that, at least this is how I saw the request for discussion, was this might be an opportunity to cut down on the existing gravel and the dust and the things that comes with it. It really wouldn't be a difference in terms of appearance or,
I'd say it's basically the same product.
yeah.
Crushed
Right.
concrete is an
Because
alternative to gravel.
you can't
Right.
compact the crushed concrete, that's the only real.
So I'm just asking then, if we're discussing asphalt, milled asphalt, then should we alternatively discuss crushed concrete as well, being in the verbiage? I know it's not exactly a preferred option, however, though we do have local sources, and it is a cheaper option, and sometimes it's just easier to find. I know asphalt is sometimes harder to find, not in all cases, but it would just be an alternative to our citizens.
In your hypothetical, would it be an existing
Yes.
condition though? So I think that's almost a separate conversation, if I'm understanding.
Right, for an existing, not for new.
Yeah, I would say if it's currently gravel right now, you're probably not gonna really tell a difference if it's crushed concrete or gravel. I mean, you will if you really know what you're looking at.
Minimal, yeah.
But like, for it to be in the same conversation as like asphalt millings being put on as a replacement to gravel, I wouldn't say it's the same. I'd say it's the same as gravel.
Or does it need to be spelled out and acknowledged, or just?
Because we're, just so I understand, we're talking about parking on a hard surface instead of pavers, concrete, asphalt, milled asphalt would be okay. And then you're thinking crushed concrete as well?
Well, yes, but we don't consider gravel a hard surface, correct?
Correct. I don't know if it's hard surface, paved, improved surface, I think is the verbiage that we have.
I don't know.
I think it's hard service.
So how would we consider
Yeah, hard
milled
surface.
asphalt a hard surface then if we don't consider gravel a hard surface?
We're not
That would be
considering,
the,
Oh,
we're
well,
not
no,
considering
right.
milled
I
asphalt.
know,
hard
I know
surface.
we're not, I just wanna make sure that we have clear
But
verbiage.
that's.
so we'd
that's
have
what's
to
being proposed
change the
right now, isn't it?
definition of,
That's part of the discussion.
I'm sorry, what name?
we'd have to change the definition in
No.
the ordinance.
Because that's exactly what I.
And remove
What
hard
I'm
surface.
saying is we require a hard surface the 25 feet, and then after that, it could be milled asphalt, that's not a hard surface. I'm not
So-
saying milled
So that's-
asphalt is a hard surface.
So for example, what brings this to mind is then a camper that gets parked on a hard surface. They can't park it on gravel, but they can park it on milled asphalt.
I did not say that.
No, I'm just,
No.
no, this is where,
If it's-
this is where I wanna be very
If
concise.
it's after the 25 feet of hard surface you need, you know, if it's after the, then I'm fine with it.
Here's what, and Danny may have to clarify, because I hope I'm getting this right. My understanding is the discussion is, should we permit asphalt, milled asphalt, as an approved parking and driving surface for driveways, parking pads, so on and so forth?
That's what I
Is
was
that,
saying.
is
Yep,
that, okay.
yep, that's what I was.
So in order to do that, we would need to change the ordinance to read somewhat differently, because right now it says must be hard surface. Milled asphalt is not a hard surface, it's a permeable surface, you know, maybe less permeable than crushed asphalt or crushed concrete and gravel, but it's not considered a hard surface. So we'd have to change the definition in the ordinance to read differently. Like it can be hard surfaced or milled asphalt or something along those lines. If you include,
And not
yeah,
gravel.
if the intent is to additionally allow crushed concrete, it's simply saying that alongside milled asphalt.
Yeah.
So basically what we're doing is probably removing the verbiage around hard surface and saying, these are the acceptable methods.
My only concern then about that is negotiating what is considered gravel versus crushed concrete. So we don't run into that, well, I think it's this, well, I think it's that. So,
In my experience, crushed
I mean,
concrete
I
and
know what it
gravel
is.
are the same. They're basing the same lens in milled asphalt.
yeah,
Recycled asphalt is different than them. I mean, they have different properties.
absolutely.
And
I just wanna make sure our verbiage is very.
100%, I completely agree with you, because they can kind of get intertwined and they shouldn't be, honestly. And it really, recycled asphalt is not like a material that you can build on either. Like, there should be a base material that then you put the recycled asphalt on, is what it really should be. Because that recycled asphalt's not gonna, I mean, it's gonna turn to junk after a while.
It's got no structural strength.
Exactly,
You mean
exactly.
if people
That's
just
what
lay it on
base.
grass, you're saying? Like if people just lay it on grass?
Or like if you put on clay or something like that, if you put on clay or material, I mean, it's not gonna stay, it's not stable, it doesn't have big enough aggregate in it for it to be that way.
That's all.
Well, I have confidence P and Z will get it very clear.
As long as we understand what
And
the.
it may take, I mean, we'll come back with an ordinance. I don't expect that to be the final version, right?
Yeah, right.
This is a discussion that's evolved over time. I think we're probably to the point where we're probably ready to refine this to the point that it's like, okay, we can probably put this in that. So let's take our time, do it right, make sure that the wording and restrictions or permitting is what you guys want it to be before we get it to the council level, so.
I wanna hit on the 25 feet, because I think that's, because what's the intent of the recycled asphalt? If we want there to be a cheaper and better option for people that have maybe gravel and they want their camper to be parked out there, their boat or whatever it is, when it doesn't actually apply to most of the community, if like 25 feet is the number, then it's not gonna apply to very many people. And so, I mean, then what's the benefit? I mean, isn't that?
Yeah, I think there's a fair point there in that, you know, the properties we're talking about are largely properties that probably didn't even have a 25-foot setback when they were built. So if you're thinking some of the properties along the gravel alleys, those did not require, in some cases, probably a 10-foot setback back in the day.
But I
You've got a few properties here and there throughout town that are somewhat newer that have longer driveways, but.
Aren't you saying, Brett, you pull a permit to build something,
Yep.
the 25 foot has to be concrete,
Right.
and then whatever you do after that is up to you. And I
Yep.
think what Mayor Ferguson is saying is, hey, can we add crushed, milled asphalt to the verbiage saying that's an approved hard
Yeah.
surface?
Two separate things, same discussion, if that makes sense.
Well, because
Let's say
Like
for,
this.
I'm trying to think of a place where you would, I don't even know where you live, but let's say at your house, you've got room next to your garage that you wanna park your camper, but it's grass now. Well, you wanna add a spot over there to park your camper. Well, you can't necessarily just, if you don't wanna pour concrete, you could put, I'm saying after 25 foot, you could put a milled
And
asphalt.
that's exactly what I'm trying to understand is
Yeah.
why the 25 feet though? Because
Because then,
I
if
know-
we don't have the 25 feet, nobody needs to have a concrete driveway.
the 25 feet keeps the junk from coming onto the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
that I
Right.
completely understand. I agree
Yeah.
with. I agree with. I'm just
But it's saving the person who built their shed, the house you put in down the street over here that has the garage behind it.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, I mean, you're talking at the prices of concrete today, somebody wants to put a garage and they have to put it behind their house because of where their house is set. He's saying the first 25 feet has to be asphalt,
Right.
whatever you put after
Hard,
that.
first 25 foot has to be hard
Hard
surface.
surface, correct,
Yeah.
sorry.
And then after that,
And
Which
Mr.
also
Ferguson
serves
said-
a double purpose of covering the new construction too, though I think we'll still
Yes.
include new construction in there
yeah.
specifically as not allowed.
So yeah, I think we ended up with 25, 55, a 75-foot driveway over there.
For the detached garage.
Yeah, well, it's a detached in the back, yeah.
And the biggest difference between the milled asphalt and the gravel versus the crushed concrete is drive out to the lumberyard on a wet day. You don't track on the highway.
Yeah,
It is what it is. I mean, and that's the advantage for everybody in the city is you wouldn't be tracking that gravel, that junk onto the sidewalk. And that's where, correct, it's not in there where you can use milled asphalt.
Currently.
Correct.
currently it just says gravel.
You know,
And gravel's a really loose term, because gravel is just loose aggregate of
Undefined.
small rock.
Yeah,
There's
there's no size characteristics.
So
to it.
realistically, milled asphalt is gravel, but gravel's not milled asphalt, if that makes sense.
I put it better myself.
Yep.
That's right.
Square is a rectangle, so a rectangle is a
Right.
square.
Exactly.
there's no clay in the asphalt
Right,
like there is gravel,
yeah.
which holds it together.
And it's cleaner, no dust, don't track it, like you said.
And I think this opens up the possibility for us someday too, to look at crushed asphalt in alleys as opposed to.
Yes, that would be great. And even, I don't know all the rules with city stuff, but if, like when you kind of extended the parking lot out by the old football field and baseball field, like if that would have been crushed asphalt instead of gravel, that would have been
Yeah,
a million times better. Because you watch soccer out there
it's dusty,
and people are driving around, it's horrible.
and we do get weeds in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was meant to be a temporary thing until, we had the trees out there last summer and it got kind of torn up. So
Yeah.
this is probably our chance to get extra gravel out there and make it bigger,
Yeah.
but without making something more permanent that, we didn't want to do the master parks plan and then tear
Right.
out something permanent,
Right.
so. Yep. Well, I think we've got enough to get started on this, so.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Meeting
Thank you, everyone.
adjourned. Try to get arguing, man.
We weren't arguing. I was just trying to understand
Sometimes
what
what
the
I
point
say
of trying to.
and what I mean are two different things.
See, I